Gentlemen, I have some information, said Gordon proudly one late afternoon.
What information?
Asked Percy. Duck is wrong.
Why, you may,
Duck jumped in. City of Truro was not the first engine to reach 100 miles per hour.
Rubbish. He was too.
He was not.
James yawned, unamused.
Can you toads croak somewhere else, please? I'm trying to sleep here.
I have proof.
Proof my buffers. He was too, and you know it.
Relax, Duck, Edward said. It's not worth arguing. The two of you have already wasted enough steam on this before.
Ah, but this is true history you lot need to know, insisted Gordon.
Well, we can't stop you, can we?
Grumbled James.
All of you are aware I have many brothers, correct?
I didn't think so.
I have one, whose name is Flying Scotsman.
Flying Scotsman? Asked Percy. The name sounds familiar, but what kind of name is that?
Have some respect, little Percy. His name is a profound icon, known by all. He was named after the train service from London to Edinburgh, and holds some of the...
So are you guys secretly Scottish?
Don't be daft. We're from Doncaster. Anyway, as I was saying, he holds some of the greatest achievements known to the history of the railways, which leads me to the reason I began explaining this.
What?
He holds 2 world records.
2?
They all wondered.
What records? Duck quizzed.
He holds the record of being the first locomotive to authentically reach 100 miles per hour and being able to complete his 390-mile route non-stop and in just over 8 hours.
Rubbish, said Duck. No engine can go that distance non-stop.
Ah, but he did. And after that is when he reached the 100 miles an hour.
You said you had proof.
I do. My driver has old papers saved from when it happened. He shared them with me this morning.
You would think 1 world record is enough, James said, rather impressed.
He had thought so as well, continued Gordon, but it did not deter him from getting it done.
Do tell us, Percy pleaded. Yes, please do, added James. Oh dear.
After the non-stop journey record, his fame had already reached a high point. He thought that every possible challenge had been done, but our designer saw an even greater potential in him. 6 years after the first record, our designer came up to him and his driver one day and said, "I've got an idea that will bring us to the top of the railway. You will be more famous than any engine ever before." Both he and his driver were confused. "What do you mean, sir?" they asked. "We are going to attempt another world record." They were absolutely shocked.
Another one? Scotsman asked.
Nervous, but excited.
What will it be of?
Being the first engine to reach the magic number, our designer said proudly. You will be going at an attempt of reaching 100 miles per hour. Both he and the driver were speechless. Here's the plan. You will be leaving King's Cross and taking a train up to Leeds and back. Attached to the train will be a dynamometer car to keep an official note of the speed you reach. When do we begin? Scotsman asked, with great enthusiasm. Finally, the day came. On the 30th of November, 1934, the coaches were lined up at the platform with the dynamometer car attached. Flying Scotsman was ready up front, his fire burning nicely. The people crowded around to see him off on his attempt at a second world record. The driver looked out to speak to the people gathered around. Flying Scotsman, however, paid no mind to them. His thoughts were settled on the tracks ahead. The tunnel in the distance loomed eerily, as if a portal to another world. The driver turned to Scotsman. "Are you ready, old boy?" "Ready as I'll ever be," he replied, and he passively let off steam. His mind seeped into a blur, out into the ballast in front. Suddenly, the guard blew his whistle, and with a great jolt began to haul his train out of the station. "Going strong from the start," called his driver, as he and the fireman stumbled in the cab.
I like it. Let's just be mindful of the track.
Flying Scotsman smiled, hurried out of London. In no time, they had arrived at Leeds, reaching at an average 73 miles per hour. They rested at the station and waited anxiously for the return journey. Once again, the crowds consumed the platform, but Flying Scotsman would not break his concentration. At last it was time to go. He rocketed out of Leeds and into the countryside. The fireman worked as hard and as fast as he ever could. Speed soon began to increase. 75, 80, 85, 90. They were making good time and pace. The faster they went, the more distance they covered, and he had not yet reached 100. "You can do this," his driver called. "Just punch it a little more." Come on, come on, come on!" Scotsman urged himself on, pushing his pistons as hard as he could. 95. The station was not far now, and they were going to have to slow down. 97. 98. "No!" he yelled. "No!" 99. "I will do it! I will do it!" He gave all his effort, and at last they had to slow down. Scotsman panted heavily as they approached the station. The driver and fireman waited anxiously in the cab to hear the news from the dynamometer car. At last, a man burst out of the corridor. "He's done it!" he cheered. "He's hit 100! The men cheered in the cab. "You've done it!" called out the driver. Flying Scotsman whistled in delight as he eased his pace. He was out of breath, but content. When they got back to London, people shouted and cheered for their success. Our designer came up and congratulated him. "Well done. You've made me very proud." When he went to congratulate the crew, Scotsman softly let off steam and whistled in celebration. And that, my dear engines, is how Flying Scotsman reached 100 miles per hour. The engines wondered with awe at Gordon's story. "Now tell me, Duck, have you ever heard a story like that?"
"You still haven't convinced me," said Duck. "But I will not deny that your brother is a great engine, and I would be just as proud as you to have a brother like him." That night, all the engines would talk about was Flying Scotsman and the wonders that make him one of the most extraordinary engines to ever ride the rails.
baby.